digest regarding the LinkedIn Learning homepage and what I call playlists. I think they refer to them as pathways. What I'm going to cover here is first and foremost this area here and not the top part, which I'll take care of. If a learner, they're not going to see go to administration, obviously. Now, here on the top is what they call featured pieces of content. And what isn't really clear to me is how they decide, and I say LinkedIn Learning, how do they decide what should be featured versus what shouldn't be featured? And you could argue, well, it's the newest pieces of content that they have, but where they have, as you can see here, all new pieces of content. Matter of fact, we have the 12th and the 14th, and then we have this. So it's really wasn't clear to me on how this is. I get it about the idea about the the speakers, but what I found interesting about this guy specifically is you would think that it would just be who he is, but he's also now telling you can book him. So it's almost like a promotion of him saying, "Hey, I'm an expert. By the way, if you want to book me for a fee, here's this phone number." I don't know. I would sort of think that's sort of borderlining on ethical, but nevertheless, the platform allows that, and rather LinkedIn Learning offers that. And of course, some people will be very impressed about who the experts are. I'm always about the content. Here is kind of the different little pieces that you go through. And at the beginning of when I first logged in, I identified skills that I follow. And so I just went ahead and selected. And honestly, what I'd like it to be is where I can highlight this so I can remember. Because honestly, I don't remember what skill I selected to follow because I was in this system about a week ago and about a month ago. Then I came back in, and then I came back in, and so it's very common not to remember something of what skill. So it would be great if I could see by text what it is I follow, or if I could just highlight this. And again, this is what's in progress, and this is what's saved. And then here you can see all of three. So in actuality, is if I go back into this home page here, it says in progress that you have, and then it says see all three, and then saved and see all one. I would actually prefer it to be just on this bar here, and then I click next, as I can do with every other pathway that's possible. It's not available at this top piece. So you have to, if I want to go into progress here, saved, again, I understand this, but these are where the things are anyway. So if I want to hit in progress, I click, I can see that. If I want to see what course I saved, I can see that. So to me, if you're wanting to just make it more of a consistency, you would have these pieces. Now, this is where it kind of gets a little funky, specifically with these two pieces here. So the process of doing this, trending for executive directors. And what I found interesting is when I actually went into LinkedIn Learning, because my entrepreneurship foundations, this was trending dealing with entrepreneurs. And then when I selected a different course, and went in and took a looking. And when I came back to my home screen, now it changed. And it only changes in these two areas here. And so you have training for executive directors. If you're, to me, there was no correlation because that's not what I selected here. And so an example would be is this was in fact the course I selected to go
Great
into.
CEOs do tend to exhibit certain
And it's talking about how to be a great CEO. But then if I'm going to be a great CEO, then what do I want? A training for executive director. Wouldn't it be better if it's training for CEOs if I select a CEO? If it's a tight correlation, it isn't. When you go and see the type of course you have, as you can see, you see the course. Here's the title. This is the category it's under. This is how long it is, which is really long, 56 minutes, 37 seconds. And that's based on, I'm not really sure what that is based on. I guess them going through, I don't know if that's based on a collective whole of all the content or if that's based on LinkedIn Learning going through, or is that based on the expert that's done that? That's not really clear to me. This is when the course was created. It would be nice that if they've updated it, it could say updated or give me the latest date. Some of this content, time-wise, isn't really a factor, but on others it is. And the reason I'm kind of curious about the time is because everybody's different. And so what may take you 56 minutes and 37 seconds over a period of time, it may take me 120 minutes. I understand, but it would be sort of nice, without clearly stating it. I know that people can't. 81,640 viewers. I'll get into that, how they come up with that process. And here's where I could save. It would be great if I could have a favorites piece, but I understand they just do saved. And then, what's interesting is it's 37 seconds and, 56 minutes here. And yet it's an hour and 7 minutes here, 6 hours and 15 minutes here. And so, once it obviously gets back past an hour kind of piece. But anyway, the times do change. You do get to see who these people are. If I clicked and I wanted to know a little bit more about Brad.
Marketing is a fun.
I can't. So it's just really giving me who the expert is. And the reason I'm kind of doing this, I don't know if you've been noticing, but this playlist constantly changes. Every time I select whatever I'm selecting, and there's no correlation here, this changes. And in the one screen, you saw dealing with instructional designers. And another thing, it was dealing with something else. And what I found, this is kind of where the funky piece gets into. Wouldn't it be stay sharp on whatever skills are tied to being, if I'm looking at a CEO piece and I'm kind of coming through here, I couldn't care less about social media marketing, right? That wouldn't even be a thing. And especially when my skill was entrepreneurship, then you could sort of say, okay, then it's tied to this. But in one of the previous playlists, by me just clicking a course and then coming back, it said about instructional designers, which means absolutely nothing to me. So let's say I went into here kind of on my next screen, and I'm curious about project management. I would think that staying sharp with this next pathway would be tied to it. Let's see how that works out for us.
In today's
So again, this is the course. All the courses are video driven, although there's ones that have audio, so it's just audio only, and the screen pretty much stays the same. This is our favorites. This is how many people, or these are the comments, people liking it rather. This is how many people saved it, and then you can have a share piece. Click down here, you can view it offline, feedback. If you just want to hear audio, you can. That is operational, but check it out. I'm going to click my home button, and look at that. Now I've got trending for authors on a project management course. So wouldn't it then be again back to trending for project management? I don't really care. And trending for authors, I assume that's, I'm not really sure. It looks like it's all marketing related. Don't know why it's called trending for authors. But stay sharp on e-learning. And here's all these kinds of things that are dealing with this. And again, it's not really clear to me. You've got Adobe Captivate, you've got Camtasia, you've got Learning iBooks 2016, you've got 17 here. To me, I think you would want to have the latest. But be that as it may, that's how it works. To me, these are a little bit funky. Again, that kind of does that.